Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I wanted to do a discussion video kind of talking about Pokemon Unite and the state of the game. Now, this is meant to be like more of my serious video, talking about what I'm thinking about the game, the good, the bad, the ugly, but I don't want it to be a negative video. So I don't want to do ranty stuff. I'm going to talk about what I think works really, really well with this video. I wrote down a bunch of notes, what I think is not working well, and what I think is just downright atrocious. And I think that this is good for feedback, it's good for dialogue and discussion, and let's go ahead and jump into it. So, the state of the game, Pokemon Unite state of the game, the good, the bad, the ugly. So, the good. I am just going to read through my points and then give a little bit of discussion. Gameplay is amazing. I genuinely love this game. I think that the physical gameplay loop is infectious, and what I mean by that is when you're on the field, when you're in these stadiums, when you're playing these characters, you're feeling the controls, you understand the Unite moves and the abilities, the gameplay is amazing. I think that it is the best thing that they ever did. They really made Pokemon Unite work. You know, the MOBA genre, I've always given them credit for this, and I'm going to give them credit again. The MOBA genre is old. It's been around for a while, and you know, in order to survive in the MOBA world, you have to have an idea and a unique game that gives players a reason to play it, and they actually nailed that. They nailed the short form gameplay. They nailed the, you know, we're not just pushing down towers and breaking like a home base or anything like that. They created their own MOBA, and it works really well. The gameplay is phenomenal. Now, another thing that I think works really well is that I'm addicted to climbing world ranking. I'm addicted to ranked. I love playing it. I always talk about needing to build addictions and needing to build heavy incentives for wanting to play. And while we're going to talk about some of that here in a little bit, I am, in fact, addicted to watching, you know, internet number go big, right? Like, me caveman, me want big number. Like, I really do think that climbing ranked, like the idea of that, the fact that it's in the game to begin with, because like I said, we'll get to the bad and the ugly, the idea that climbing ranked is in this game is great. I love that. The Pokemon release schedule has been very solid. They even recently, I wish I could find the source, I actually looked for it a minute ago, they recently even acknowledged that their release schedule is basically 3 to 4 weeks, I think in like an interview or something, but the Pokemon schedule for heroes, or like for adding new characters, Pokemon, I say weird words because of MOBAs, I'm sorry, is actually really good, and I'm impressed by that. Now, that schedule in MOBAs always tends to start very, very high and fast, and then will slowly taper off because the more and more characters you add into the game, the more complicated and complex and the more balance changes and all of these things. So I expect that they'll probably slow down at some point, but realistically, we have gotten so many characters, I don't even know what we're at. We're at like 28, 29, something like that, and it just feels like we're always getting new characters. That's great. I love it. We're always getting new Pokemon. It feels amazing. Now, most recently, the most recent patch and event, in my opinion, have been very good. Now, when I say the event, I just mean like the feeling of what's going on in the game. I don't actually care about the winter themed map or whatever. Like, it's cool, it's whatever, it's fun. That doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm sure that there are people out there that love it. I'm sure there are people out there that hate it. But I just mean like the overall winter themed event, that feeling of like there's a bunch of content, there's a bunch of changes, and the recent patch, like the actual balance changes and things like that, it felt like it came timed. It came timely. It felt like it came like at a good time. It you know, we were needing some balance changes. It felt clean. I'm pleased with this most recent patch. I think that it put the game in one of the best spots that it's been in, but doesn't mean that the game is great. And you know, the crazy thing about Pokemon Unite, to end off the good section, and you know, I'm sure I'm going to miss some things and wish I said more later on, but I feel like this game is very clearly working very well as a casual game, and very clearly could work well or does work well as a competitive game. And I think that that's so important to state. Like, I actually think that even though it's a short game, even though it's, you know, kind of casually focused on like mobile and Switch, like even though it's just Pokemon, and you know, people will say, oh, it's a kid's game. It's not, but that's not the point. It works very well casually and competitive, and I think that that is very, very good for the game. All right. Let's move into the bad. the bad things about Pokemon Unite. The overall feel of development in this game, minus the Pokemon releases, still feels really slow to me. I think that that's one of my biggest concerns when it comes to Pokemon Unite, is that they make good changes, it just, they feel so few and far between that it feels kind of a little like, I don't know, man, like we really need some balance changes. Like, I don't know, man, we really need to hear some news about things. And that's kind of been this kind of overall sentiment that I've had with Pokemon Unite since I've been playing it, is that it just feels like when they do good work, when they do good updates, it's great. But then those updates linger and we're stuck with the game for like months at a time where like no changes happen. So the most recent patch came really timely and I was really pleased with it, but the overall sentiment of like the development of this game still feels pretty slow. It's still kind of lingering, so we have to just kind of wait and see if that's changing, if those tides are changing, or whether or not that just is the current game. So we'll see. It's kind of a thought, it's kind of a bad thing right now. I feel like in general with Pokemon Unite, the content that they put out that's not Pokemon is kind of lacking. With the Halloween event, like, yeah, we get our little fun quick play modes, but the content that they put out's not really that good to me. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like the $40 skins, I'm not a huge fan of. That to me is just like not good content. I don't want to pay $40 for a skin. I'm never going to pay $40 for a skin, most likely. I don't think that the battle passes are terrible, but I don't think that they're that great either. I don't know. I'd love to hear opinions in the comments down below about battle passes. I love the implementation of battle passes in live service games. I don't feel like Unite does battle passes great. The current one that we have with like the musical skins, I'm not planning on buying this one probably at all. I don't think. Maybe I'll pick it up and change my mind toward the end of the season, but I'm just like not too jazzed about a lot of the content that they put in outside of Pokemon releases. The ice map, like the winter themed like main map for the game, I always forget what this map is called. We're on Remote Stadium. It's okay. I like it because it looks really nice, but it's nothing too crazy. Like, I want to see more content. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe a new map, maybe some really cool skins that don't have to cost $40. Like, I don't know. It just feels to me like the content in Pokemon Unite's a little bit lacking. Again, this is another thing I'd love to hear your thoughts on. Another thing that is just bad about Pokemon Unite is that the in-game rewards are not good. They're simply not very good. They're giving us like timed licenses. One of the things on the little Christmas tree was the Ninetales license, which is literally a useless reward to us. They're just not really nailing the rewards or the incentives in this game. I think that there's not enough incentives. The coin cap exists. You can get on and do your little daily missions, and then it's kind of just like, well, what are you really playing for if you're not grinding ranks? So I think that the rewards could be much better. I think that the incentives for playing the game could be much better. Now, this one's probably more of a nitpick, but I think it's important. I think that the performance and the controls of Pokemon Unite are really bad. Now, I do play on Switch, so little caveat there. I'm playing on the non-mobile device, and I'm not playing with mobile controls, but some of the controls in the game on controller feel really weird. Like, auto-targeting's weird. The advanced targeting with like your A and B button, it just doesn't actually split them. It's like this weird splitting hybrid. And then in general, the game runs at like anywhere between 20 and 40 FPS for like fights and stuff. I just think that the game isn't as smooth and the controls aren't as intuitive as they could be, should be, and I wish them to be. Yeah, it's just not great. And I'd say for the last bad thing about Pokemon Unite is that dev communication is almost entirely not present. There's no dev communication. We don't hear from them. They just do things. And, that's fine, but it doesn't instill confidence in me, right? It doesn't make me feel good about the game. There was one moment really early on where the game director Hoshino did like a letter. He wrote like a letter addressing the community, and it was like, hey, we've heard your concerns about monetization and like enhancers. Like, we love your feedback. We appreciate y'all supporting the game. This is what we're doing to change it. Thank you for supporting Pokemon Unite. And that was such a cool moment. I remember being in the past like super jazzed up about that moment. And, looking at that now, I miss that, right? Like, I miss that level of communication, that level of trust and respect that was given. We don't really have that. And I wish we could have something like that more. Now, let's move into the final section, which is the ugly. What is absolutely downright atrocious about Pokemon Unite? I think the first thing is that most new Pokemon releases are disturbingly overpowered. At a glance, like, it's not always like that, but it's usually. Most new Pokemon come out and they're overtuned. it's, maybe it is a monetization tactic. Maybe it is a way to, sell the characters. Maybe it's just coincidence. I don't know, but it's not great, right? Like, I think it's pretty bad. Sometimes it takes them a while to get nerfed. Sometimes they nerf it instantly. So I don't really know. Is it a rug pull? Is it intentional? I have no idea. Now, this is, for me, much more important. I think that ranked mode in this game is genuinely terrible. Like, that's what I wrote in my notes. The ranked mode is genuinely awful. The climb to Masters is way too easy. And I guess if you want to push that aside and, say, oh, well, ranked really starts at Masters and they're trying to get everybody there, cool, that's fine. The matchmaking's terrible. And, it's just the ranked mode, if you're not 5 stacking, because the game feels like it's developed for 5 stacking at this point, it just sucks. One of my notes is that solo duo play, like if you're a person that doesn't consistently play 5 stacks, that experience is ruined on the ranked ladder by 5 stacks. And it's a matter of don't hate the player, hate the game, right? I'm not blaming 5 stack players, but the reality is that I'm addicted to climbing the world rankings, but I can never climb the world rankings as fast as a 5 stack team. And people tell me, well, why don't you 5 stack? It's like, well, that's just a band-aid solution, right? Like, I'm talking about wanting truly a solution. Yeah, I could 5 stack all day, but I don't like engaging in the game that way. It's not really the way that I like to play. So there's definitely a need for a solo duo queue. There's a need for better matchmaking. And I even wrote in my notes, talk about an anecdote with your win percentage versus sub 50% win rates. So right now, currently, I've literally been keeping track. I have played 17 5-stack games on my main account, and I play mostly anywhere between solo, duo, and trio queue. And my win rate is just shy of 61%. And I am consistently, and this is something you can find on my stream, consistently playing with or against players that have a less than 50% win rate. The matchmaking, the ranked mode, it's atrocious. It's grindable. It's what I want to do. It's so close to being exactly what I need for me to like absolutely adore this game to the highest standard, and it's just not quite hitting there. Now, another thing that ties into this is the ranked rewards are lazy and uninspired. There is essentially nothing for actually grinding this. I want the ranking and I want the bragging rights and I want to feel good and validated with my skill level, but I am not super happy about not really getting anything for it. I could be at the top of the ladder or I could be at the very bottom of the ladder, just barely, scratching the surface of making Masters, and I'm going to get the same 20,000 points that anybody else gets. And that's not great, right? Like, there needs to be more cosmetic rewards, exclusive rewards, seasonal rewards, banners, titles, profile pictures, stickers, so many things that you can create and give away to the players that drive that addiction, that drive the reason to grind, that drive the reason to take the game seriously, and would all tie into that good point of being addicted to playing ranked mode and being wanting to spend my time on the game, not being forced to spend my time on the game, but truly wanting to hop on and play all day long. So rank rewards are not great. So this is going to lean back into that topic of the game works both as a casual and a competitive game, and this is the ugly. While the game actually is competitive, it's being treated overly casually, in my opinion. The entire selling point of Pokemon Unite is like, it's short, it's fast, and it's accessible. Anybody can play it, play with your friends, the games are short, and it's all fast. That's a great thing. But when you let that kind of spill into ranked and competitive, it actually is creating problems, in my opinion. We have mirror matches with no pick ban phase. Do I ever think they're going to make a pick ban phase? No. Why? It would add too much time to the ranked experience. I don't think they want to add time. Do I think they'll ever tighten the matchmaking and make it better? No, probably not. Why? It adds to the matchmaking time. They probably don't like that. This short, fast, accessible, everybody can be masters, everybody can make it, everybody can have fun and play. It's great for the game, and it's simultaneously terrible for the game. I really want them to look at Pokemon Unite for what it is and appreciate the fact that, yes, you did create a very fun and casual game, but you also created a very serious and ranked game and competitive game as well. I say this a lot on stream, but if you're going to do something, do it right. And I think that the minute that you put a playlist in the game that says ranked on it, I would just appreciate you so much more for actually doing it right. And I think that there's so much about ranked that is just not working, from the matchmaking to the rewards to the fact that you have these high ranks and they essentially mean nothing. all the way down to not even being able to fun and fairly climb the ranked ladder unless you're 5 stacking. So definitely the game is majorly falling short on ranked in my opinion. Now this point I call it the ugly because it's just something that I feel like, I don't know, maybe this could have been in the bad, but I think it's the ugly. Held items have basically never been changed except for small stealth changes that changed almost nothing. I don't think that this should be ignored. I think that just like Pokemon balance, held items need to be balanced too. It's healthy for the game. I think that they should be seeing changes. I think that this kind of balance shouldn't be something that should just stay the same forever. It would be interesting. It would give us something to talk about. It would give us things to explore and experiment with. And ultimately, it can make for a better game to actually balance them. So I put it in the ugly because it's just something that's essentially never been done, and I feel like we don't ever talk about it, but I definitely think that held items actually need to be getting balanced. I'm looking at you, Buddy Barrier. I'm kind of sick of you to some degree. Yeah, and the last major ugly point of the game, and I do think that this was really bad when it happened, is that season changes need to feel important. The rollover from Season 1 Pokemon Unite to Season 2 was not good. Literally nothing happened. They reset us from Masters down to like Veteran, and there was no changes. There was no balance changes. There was no new release. There was nothing substantial. There was nothing. It was just this hypothetical clock that ticked over from 11:59 p.m. to, midnight, and it was like, okay, like now what, and then shortly after they like released a Pokemon in like a patch. It's like, we'll just line those up at minimum, like you do the bare minimum and make the change an actual change. And I think that it needs to feel impactful. Season changes come with the implication that there's something fresh, something new, and the rollover from Season 1 to Season 2 was kind of a joke. So that's my thoughts. Like I said, I hope I'm not just harping on the game too much. I love what the game does right. I see room for compromise, and I understand why there's $40 skins, I guess. I don't think that that's a good idea. I think that they could lower that price. And I understand the bad, and the ugly is really what needs to be fixed. I'd love better communication from the devs too, just in general. So that's in the bad. But those are my thoughts. What Pokemon Unite does right, being fast, fun, accessible, amazing gameplay, a new addition to the MOBA genre that actually works, addicting to try to climb and play, and casual yet competitive. When it does all of those things right, and if it was surrounded by more better systems, things that work amazingly, could you imagine, man? Could you actually imagine? Such a phenomenal game. I love it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep playing, but I'm also going to keep complaining about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. I genuinely love this kind of discussion and dialogue. I wanted to do this topic, like I said, and not out of rage or anything like that. Just wanted to create some dialogue and some discussion. So as always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.